What's going on, people? It's Full Field Read Friday. We're back. We missed last week, but we're here this week. It's a bye week. I know everybody's sad. I'm sad for the first time in years. I know the past anytime there was a bye week earlier, it was like, thank God I don't have to watch whatever misery I've been getting put through. Hopefully we get some guys back healthy. But now I'm like, damn it, I want to watch more Broncos football, but I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm Frankie, Frankie's Film. I'm here with my co-host, Robby Davis. Robby, how are you today, sir?
I am doing great, man. I am doing great. It's been a long time since my mood has been positively affected by a Denver Broncos team. It's been a long time, and it feels great. It feels great. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. And I mean, it's like you said, like that Broncos-Browns game was like a nationally televised Broncos game that wasn't a disgrace to the sport, which is like, hey, like it was like a genuinely like one of the better games I feel like I've gotten to fully sit through start to finish this entire season. It was so entertaining. I mean, we got a prime Jameis game where he threw 6 touchdowns to multiple teams. Like, how can you hate on that? Bo Nix had some really fun moments. Cortland Sutton continued to dominate. We'll get to the big touchdown, but Marvin Mims continues to kind of have his I'd say breakout second year. I don't even want to say resurgent because that makes it sound like, this is just a 21-year-old receiver starting to kind of find his way into the league. And I mean, then the defense having obviously a crappy game against Jeudy, but also making just like 5 or 6 massive splash plays that either saved or kept them in the game. Like their second half was pretty fantastic outside of obviously, again, 2 or 3 70-yard touchdowns given up by Levi Wallace. But we aren't going to talk about those because they're 8-5. Like, they're probably going to make the goddamn playoffs. Holy shit, dude. Like, it's just kind of insane to see how far this team has come in 1 year. I'm trying to think of, like, it's just like it doesn't feel real almost to an extent, like, at this point still, just because it is, like, almost laughable how easy it seems for this team just to be like, yeah, we're, like, I don't know. The audacity of Sean Payton just to say, yeah, I'm just going to eat this dead cap hit and draft a rookie quarterback at 12, and I'm going to be fine. I'm 60 plus, so I'm probably not going to be here for another decade, but, like, we're going to win right fucking now. And he was just right. Like, pretty goddamn cool. We'll start with the Raiders game. Where would you rank the Raiders game as far as overall Bo Nix games we've seen this season? And you don't have to have, like, a perfect a defined answer, but maybe, like, top 3, top 5. There you go.
Yeah, I mean, it was good. Like, it was just super clean from top to bottom. And it's one of those performances that we were wishing for to start the season. And it's crazy because as good as it was and as clean as it was, I'll say probably top 6 because Bo has put on some pretty damn good games the past 2 months of this season. And it seems like every single game is just better than the last one. So I'll say probably around top 6. He's really starting to turn it on the past 2 months.
Yeah. I mean, he's just showing so much comfort inside of the offense. We're really seeing, it seems like every piece of the offense too. It's not just Bo. Like Bo is playing fantastic, but I mean, we'll get into it where like guys like Adam Troutman are being so impactful in the blocking game. Guys like Nate Adkins. We're seeing guys like, I mentioned him already, Marvin Mims. Troy Franklin, is coming along a little bit slowly, but, he's still able to have 1 or 2 splash plays a game. Jaleel seems like he's really finding his groove in the zone running game. Like the offense as a whole just seems like it's really finding itself, and Sean is learning how to, I think, utilize every piece so perfectly that, yeah, I completely agree. I think the Raiders game was really such a good show from him where the running game was not really getting anything done because we kind of got our final taste, I think, of the Javonte Williams. I don't want to say experiment because, again, we like Javonte Williams for what he does offer, but it seems like right now the team is kind of moving in a different direction as far as who they're going to give the carries to. But this was a game where, like, they had to lean on Bo, and he did it for him.
Yeah. I mean, it's so crazy because we think about rookie quarterbacks and the situations that they get drafted into. And Nix, yes, he's in a good structure coaching-wise. And, I mean, I think it's one of the better coaching staffs in the entire NFL, especially on the offensive side of the ball. And he was drafted into a situation where he's having to elevate a lot of pieces of this offense, a lot of them. Like, for as good as McLaughlin has looked, they're still not in the world when we talk about the rushing game where it'd be comfortable, like, okay, we can lean on this. They're still not there yet with as good as McLaughlin has been the past few games. You have Cortland Sutton, who has really come on as an elite receiver so far this year, and he's really shown that he's a true number one receiver. And Valet has been a nice outlet receiver. And like you said, Troy Franklin is still putting on some of those splash plays, but like they still don't have a well-rounded out receiver room. So, and we already know about the tight end room. So Nix is really having to elevate a lot of these different pieces. And thus far, he's really been elevating a lot of these different pieces and elevating the floor of this offense in his rookie year.
Yeah, and I'd say something that's been cool that we're seeing too is he's been aggressive. Like the past few weeks, he's been slinging the goddamn ball down, maybe a little bit much. I mean, we'll get to the one in the Brown. Well, I don't think I have that one in there, but the pick he threw in the Browns game, I think it was late in the third quarter, it might have been in the fourth quarter, but the one where they just had the one-on-one shot, and like, I'll be completely honest, I didn't really hate it. Like as soon as I saw it, I was like, fuck it. Like, everybody, don't challenge Denzel Ward. Bro, one-on-one shots. You give your guys one-on-one shots. We just watched a one-on-one shot go for a 93-yard touchdown. Sometimes it ended up being just like a throwing punt anyway. Obviously, it sucks in the situation, but like it's cool seeing like both the confidence Sean has in him. Like again, multiple times we're seeing him be asked to do pure drop back game on his own goal line. Like stuff like that you wouldn't expect to see again this early in his career. And we're seeing Bo execute the stuff. And as you're saying, not only execute, but some of the times elevate beyond what you're asking him to do. Like, we'll get into it later, but I just glowing reviews for everything that we're seeing from the offensive staff, from the development from Bo Nix. Like, it's a really exciting time, I think, to get to be a Broncos fan. And like, I don't know, man. You've talked about it. We've talked about it before too, where it's the conversation with all of these quarterbacks coming in is always their ceiling. Oh, what's their ceiling going to be? How can they? At the end of the day, it's kind of looking like, shit, man, Bo Nix can probably execute however good of an offense you can build around him. I don't think he really limits you on how his floor seems like he offers you such a solid baseline. We'll get into the fact that third and longs, bad first halves, bad quarters, end of the game drives, doesn't matter. He's unfazed. He can come out and ball for you. He's going to be the same Bo Nix, I think, drive to drive, which is such a rare thing to see out of a rookie quarterback. He's going to be that consistent guy no matter what, And we've just seen that all season long. Like, not even like that's something that we're just now seeing. I mean, we saw it earlier in the year when he'd have these abysmal first halves come out in the second half and be able to put together a respectable stat line, or at least a respectable game by the end of it. So, yeah, man, I'm going to take us into it, but let's go, guys. Like, Broncos quarterback that, like, I think is actually like, not to, this isn't everything, but I'm seeing Dolphins fans quote tweet Bo Nix throws being like, why can't our quarterback do this? Chiefs fans are like quote tweeting pictures of Bo Nix being like, I guess we've got a quarterback battle now. Like, I'm not trying to be excited, but it's kind of like, oh, like I'm a little like, oh, we're out here now. But yeah, let's get into it. Sorry, I had
to. You're good.
Let's get into it. So we got our first play here. This is 12:04 in the first quarter. Raiders game here, man. The Raiders inside linebacker core was getting assaulted by Sean Payton the entire game long, but Max Crosby is a nightmare. Like, I hate watching. Well, I love watching him play. I hate watching him play against Denver.
Yeah, he wrecks shit against Denver every single game.
So here, this one was pretty exciting, and obviously he gets to a little bit late when he's eventually on the move. But Bo's ability to kind of find, I think, a lot more of the soft spots in coverages. Like here he's working, this is I think they're playing QQH, but whatever. You got a single or a half high safety over here. You've got the flat, so you're wanting to work this whole shot. Him being able to get to this backside, I thought was pretty good to see. And again, you get his consistent ability to work outside of pockets, sometimes maybe a little quickly, but here this is a pretty fine decision. And then Devon Valet, man, has just been such a rock-solid contributor for this offense.
Yeah, and this is another example of Nix really, like, to start the year, it looked like throwing on the run to his left would be, a pretty big concern going into his career. And again, just like every other aspect of his game, the past 2 months, he's been, I don't want to say automatic, but so damn good.
Automatic.
Like,
I'll say it. Like, and again, what's been mind-boggling is like, dude, where did this arm come from? Like, again, like we were being like, oh, he doesn't have an arm that's gonna limit your offense. Like, does he have a plus arm? Like, am I sitting here like, oh shit? Like, some of the throws he's been putting on tape on the move, like where he's putting like some real zip. Like, this one's not necessarily one, but again, like this is not a simple throw whatsoever. This takes a lot of like finesse and good, on the move mechanics. Also, a well picked up stunt here by the offensive line. They've been doing a good job of that the past couple of weeks. But I digress. Very exciting to see from Nix that like I think it really was, as you said. Let's get this guy's lower half a little bit more figured out. Let's get him more calmed down, maybe a little bit more confident in what he's seeing downfield. And we're going to see this guy make some rips. And it has been damn impressive.
It really has. And we're at a point already, and he's 13 games into his rookie season, where I think we should be comfortable as a fan base and as analysts saying, okay, Nix can hit any throw on the field. We've seen it. He's hit any throw. He's throwing the digs down the middle of the field, and he's beating defenders to the ball. He's throwing seams against cover or Tampa 2, and he's beating the defenders to the ball. He's throwing hole shots. He's beating defenders to the ball. Like, he is making every throw that is on the field, and it's an aspect of his game that we didn't think would be there quite frequently coming out of college. Like, it's pretty insane.
I can't wait to talk about the inverted two-seam throw. That one, like, genuine. We'll get there. Here we've got our first like dagger hit in the first time in months, and this was one I also just wanted to highlight. Like, dude, Sutton has been so fucking good this season.
So good.
Like, his ability to break down and then just get into his break, like either busting inside or either breaking inside or outside, is just incredible for a guy his size. And again, like we talked about, like this is a guy that when he's running straight at you, like he gets going like 20, 21 miles an hour. Like he's been clocked that fast. He is truly one of the elite straight line fast receivers in the NFL, and he's 6'4". So here's just another great, again, Bo's able to time it up pretty well here. A little bit. Another well picked up protection here. Mike McGlinchey, man.
Really
good ass tackle.
Really good right tackle. Shout out to Zach Strife, man. Huge shout out to Zach Strife.
Absolute dog. I want to see on this one, because one thing, I'll be honest, that like people have been pointing out that I haven't really been taking note of. Luke Wattenberg has been kind of throwing out some pretty shitty snaps here. Some of these, like, I'm not trying to bash a guy, but Bo Nix is playing like, who am I trying to say? I'll shout him out first. A little Giannis in the post here. He's just grabbing passes from all over the place, which is impressive that Nix is able to do it and still be able to operate. But it's a little something to keep an eye on, where I do kind of still hope that they maybe consider looking for an upgraded center in the offseason, but we'll see. But yeah, again, here he's got a will time to play on the dagger concept, which again, just running down the seam with Troy Franklin. You get the digger out in behind it.
And we've talked about, I've made note of, a lot of the inaccurate Nix balls has come as a result of these little shuffles in the pocket, and he's having trouble getting back to a clean base. And he's not only has he cleaned that up the past few games, past 2 months, whatever, he's also hitting the throws when he doesn't get back to his base. Like, this looks like a completely different quarterback than what we saw the first 4 or 5 weeks of the season in quite literally every single aspect of the game. And I don't want to make it seem like, I'm just like praising the guy endlessly and we've found our guy, but I don't know, man. It's week 13 and I think we found our guy.
And I mean, we've talked about it, man. Like, we talked about it going into that little short mini bye week they got. I am so excited, so anxiously, can't wait. Like Christmas morning, I am so excited to see what this offense looks like in 2 weeks, guys. We've seen them every single week. It's so much better. Sean Payton getting 2 weeks to game plan, which he is spectacular at. Like, they get to go again. Do the Colts still employ Gus Bradley? Please tell me they don't. No. He gets to prepare against Gus Bradley, guys. It's going to be a fucking fireworks show. Like, this is going to be – oh, my God. They still – oh, no. So, yeah, there could be even more bigger strides taken for Bo Nix for this final month of the season, and we could be having some insane conversations once we hit, week 18, maybe the wild card round, which they're going to win a game in. And like, dude, free agents are going to be lining the hell up to play in Denver because Sean Payton is going to get you the ball, or if you're playing defense, Vance Joseph is going to get you 5 splash plays a year. Like, I mean, we do one more thing. We talked about it with the defense and we talked about it with the offense too, but I forget what player said the quote. Oh, it's slipping my mind. It was one of the role players that like we love. And he was in a post-game interview after the Browns game, and he was talking about, I think it was Adkins, because Adkins, I think, had a big catch in that game. And they were like, what's it like playing for Sean? And he just highlighted like how exciting it is to get to be in this, in this scheme on both sides of the ball because everybody gets their opportunity. You're going to have to help out. You're going to have to do your job. But at some point during the season, you're going to be the guy who gets his number called. And because the offense structure-wise is just so good, there's a good chance you're going to have the opportunity to run for like 40 yards after you catch it, And it's just so dope. It's just so dope.
Yeah, I mean, this coaching staff is finding places for players that have been struggling to find a place within the offense. And I think the stuff that they've been able to do recently with Marvin Mims is a perfect example of that because, not to knock on the player, but he was struggling to find a real role in this offense. He was struggling to find a route tree, and the offensive staff recognizes that and says, okay, we have a player who's struggling to find his footing, and we also have a lack of a true mismatch player out of the backfield. Why don't we just plug this fucking guy in there? And they did that, and it's really paying dividends offensively so far. So, again, credit to this coaching staff, man. They are just problem solving on the fly.
Yeah. This play was really hot from the Raiders game. We've got our quarterback. We've commented on already. Loves playing in empty. I'd have to look up what the numbers are. I don't know where I'd look that up. But Bo Nix is very comfortable playing out of empty, which is something they were limited in the ability to do the last couple of years. And it's another one of those things where a very fun thing I like to do is look at a formation like this and think, what would it look like if maybe you threw like a $15 million free agent here or like, a second round pick receiver or running back, whatever. Again, I digress, whatever. Bo Nix coming out in empty. We've got 1st and 20 after they were backed up to a penalty. And for the first time in a decade, I never care anymore. It could be 3rd and 84. I'm going to sit here and be like, they might get this. I don't know.
Right.
So 1st and 20 right here. Bo Nix is seeing empty. They're coming out. I forget what they show here. Do they show the 2 high or the 1 high? Sorry, I have to fucking rewatch this because I just haven't watched this exact game in like 2 weeks. So we've got the check into the verticals. He ends up holding the linebacker, I think, with the eyes, right? No, he just ends up ripping this right over the linebacker's head.
Yeah.
And Franklin ends up making a great catch. And this is another example, I think, of him protecting the receiver with the throw.
And again, we're really not seeing any fat or wasted movement in his dropbacks anymore. We're really not.
Just watch this baby from the end zone, man. Because it's really just like, again, his confidence ripping the ball over the middle of the field, and he's seeing it so well.
He's playing so fucking good. Like
playing really well.
I don't have like words for it.
It's fun because we had to complain, and now we don't really, there's not like, again, like this is a great play to recognize pre-snap. Hey, I'm getting too high. I'm going to need to kind of make one of these throws right over these linebackers' heads. The safeties are going to have to make a decision. Let's see which one they kind of end up choking out. Okay, the one's open over the middle, and Divine Diablo wasn't able to kind of get enough depth here to take the throw away. Just a beautiful rip, man. And yeah, Troy Franklin making a little bit of a splash play over the middle of the field, which is, hey, if that's how he's going to make his money and not these open shots down the sideline, I guess so be it. Maybe pack on 15 extra pounds.
Yeah, fuck it.
But yeah, 518.
It'll be interesting to see what they do with Franklin and if they find, like, just a different subset of offense to kind of plug him in the way that they did Mims.
I'm very interested in general, like, because as we've talked about, like, a lot of these guys that are more of the, like, lesser, I think, I don't want to say appreciate, the lower end, the lower, I don't want to say tier, the lower of the roster guys, whatever, you know what I'm talking about, like Little Jordan Humphrey, Troy Franklin, Nate Adkins, insert whoever of, like, kind of that eligibility of player. These are a lot of Sean Payton's guys, and I think all of us, like, again, I'm very hopeful that they'll probably look to upgrade a lot of these positions. But I am also sitting here, and this is something I've commented on, a little bit of my, like, I don't want to say fear. There was a little bit of a complaint from a lot of Saints fans for a long time that sometimes Sean Payton would have the opportunity to upgrade some positions on the offensive side of the ball, the offensive weaponry. And instead of, maybe making some of these upgrades, he'd continue to roll with a lot of his guys, like he would kind of keep a lot of these guys around, like the Willie Sneads of the world, whoever, insert 2017 through 2020 Saints player. He would kind of stick with a lot of those guys because they knew how to run his offense. I am interested if that's maybe something we see a little bit more than maybe the fans or even me or you might like this offseason. Because again, I think to myself, like, man, a lot of the receiver room, as much as I might not love it, might already be kind of spoken for. You've already got your X is probably already Cortland Sutton written in marker, Marvin Mims is going to have a role on this team, and as is Troy Franklin, it seems like. Unless Troy Franklin really doesn't make the roster, which I think is possible. And I do think that's – but, like, in my mind, I do think that there's a world where this could be a Sean Payton guy who he drafted who's only 21. I think there is a decent chance he ends up having a spot. Devon Vallée is a guy we all like. That's already 4 receivers, guys. I'm hopeful they're able to add guys. You get to the tight end room. I think they can upgrade off of Adam Troutman, and I do think that they're going to add a guy. But I think guys like Adam Troutman, Nate Adkins, and Lucas Kroll, they're probably going to be around next season in some capacity because they're Sean Payton guys. They know how to play this offense and have a role. So it's just one of those things I've been kind of like trying to piece out in my mind, like how many openings for new weapons like are there going to be? I think it is an interesting conversation. How many new like tight ends do you think they can look to add in this room?
I mean, probably I want to say only one. Like, I think they just need to add like a real receiving threat to the room who can play at least a little bit in line, because they already got Troutman and Adkins who can both play in line.
Yeah.
And Kroll as well. So, I mean,
and those are all guys, right?
Like, it's interesting because you're right. Like, who would be the odd man out at this point? And I think that sentiment is echoed by the fact that they just waived Josh Reynolds after 13 games. Like, I think the offensive room, obviously they need to add a guy in the receiving room. But like you said, I think a lot of the positions are already spoken for.
Yeah. So it's just been kind of one of those things where, like, I'm kind of keeping my eye on it. It wouldn't, like, as much as everyone might hate it, it wouldn't shock me if this offseason, the biggest additions we see to the offense are like, let's bulk up the offensive line some more by throwing some draft picks at it just to kind of have that stay as our strong unit. Probably look to add a running back and then probably like one receiving option, either wide receiver, tight end room. And that might be kind of it. And like, I think that would probably be a very good like offseason to spend, but it just might not be like the big explosion. We're going to see a complete overhaul of the weaponry that I think a lot of people might expect.
Yeah, I agree.
So, yeah. Here we've got, dude, the zone runs the past few weeks. They have been executing these beautifully. Like, the offensive line has been working in such a structure. And this one I really love, too. I think it was some coaching. I don't know. Whenever they talk about zone runs and coaching clinics, they always talk about riding the wave and then cutting back against the wave, because you can kind of see it. And this is why zone runs are more satisfying to me to watch from the wide angle, and then, gap runs or, more powerful runs are more enjoyable to watch from the end zone angle for me. And the big reason is because you get to kind of see all this working in unison and just watch the entire field flow one way. And then you just get to see Jaleel completely cut back against it. It's pretty cool. And this is a really good rep by Troy Franklin too. Like, this is the type of effort that like gets you more snaps.
100%. 100%. I mean, it's not like he took the guy completely out of the play, but
absolutely popped.
Listen, as a receiver, you're going to be taught, like, just get in the way. That's all it takes on some of these perimeter runs. Just get in the guy's way.
I mean, dude, that's an extra 9 yards he gets because this defensive back isn't able to make a play on the ball right here. And like, again, are you super like, oh man, I messed this guy up? No, not at all. But you made an impactful play for the team. And this is the kind of stuff that keeps you on the field. Like, this is an 11 personnel. What down is this? This is second and 2. This is second and 2. We're running, not some 11 personnel, excuse me. We're running out of 12 personnel. Like, we're running some big boy stuff here. We're showing that we're going to run the ball. Like, they are ready for this. We've got a DB Ami at the line of scrimmage. Like, you got to get out here and block, buddy. You want to be able to play on this team. And these are the types of reps. I also want to highlight something we've been seeing really, like, Bo's threat of his legs the past few weeks. We haven't seen him be as much of a runner the past, like, I'd say month, honestly. but his like ability to play these boots and really like get guys on these runs. I mean, this one I think is not necessarily a great fake by him, but he has been using his threat of his legs, I think, a lot, like, I don't know, better, because it's not like it was bad, but they have been really weaponizing the threat of Bo running so much, and it's been opening so much for this offense. Like, they were just leaving a lot of guys unblocked on the backside because they're scared Bo Nix is just running a boot action like he does 12 times a game.
Yeah, and I mean, he's doing so many of just the small subtleties that you don't typically notice a lot. He's doing them so well. And another example of that is all these pump fakes that he does on some of these throws. Like, you highlighted it before the season, before we even drafted Nix, we were talking about how his pump fakes would lead to some, successful lead pump draw plays. And we've seen that this year. Like, a lot of the subtleties that he's like just really showing on tape is leading to successful plays in different areas.
100%, man. And it's just kind of like, again, we talk about like the growth we can see in this offense throughout the next couple of years as they keep adding pieces to it and stuff like that. Like, it's a little thing, but it's something you can kind of envision. Like, hey, man, Audric Estime or the next, whoever the big, powerful up the gut back they kind of find is going to be. Like, he's going to be able to benefit so much from stuff like that.
Yeah. I mean,
this was a hell of a Devon Valet route as well.
He's so good.
But yeah, Bo is just confidently ripping the ball all over the fucking yard. Like, this is the guy they were trying to tell us, like, I don't know, man. Like, does he have the arm to play in the league? I don't think he has a starter caliber traits. It's like, okay, man. Like, this guy is like, holy shit.
I mean, what was it? 4 weeks ago, we had prominent people on Twitter saying that he doesn't have the arm to challenge downfield windows. Hey, I think he does, fellas. I think he does.
Man, and this is just like, again, I mean, they're not doing any rotating of safeties here, so you kind of know what you're getting here. You're getting 3. He does a good job with his eyes kind of holding this linebacker down. And I mean, you just get an absolute dart over the middle. And he's starting to get so good on his timing with both Valet and Sutton.
We need one of those. Just like this game was almost one of them because I think he had like 90 yards or something. But we need one of those like just insane Valet games, just for the propaganda.
Yeah,
we really need it.
And this is also just such a this drop hit the top of the hitch, the eyes from Bo, like perfect. This is such a beautiful play from Bo Nix, and this is the stuff I was like. We were talking earlier in the season where we were seeing flashes of the athleticism, but we wanted to see him do real quarterback shit right here. And it's just so awesome. Like, holds the safety perfectly. Nice. That's just nice. And Valet on these contested catches has also been fantastic.
Yeah. I mean, we got a really good question in the chat here, and I'll highlight it because I'm interested to see your thoughts on it as well. Cavante Caldwell says, I know it's impossible to know right now, but do you guys see a pathway for Bo to be a consistent top 10 quarterback in this league? And it is tough to project right now. Obviously, that's a pretty big leap to take for a rookie quarterback 13 games into his rookie season. But I mean, we're looking at this guy. We're watching this tape. We're seeing the plays that he makes on the field. What plays so far this season or recently in this season, because, to start the season, it was pretty rough. And hopefully we don't get to see like a lot of regression to the mean in that area. But what plays has he consistently shown that he can't make? Like, I struggle to really think of much of any. Like, we're seeing so many different plays that he struggled to hit in the first part of the season that he's hitting every single time now. So he can work the true drop back because we're seeing it more and more each Sunday. We're seeing him read these full field reads, no pun intended. To start the season, it was a lot of half field reads. Peyton was giving him 1, 2, 3, and then run type of reads. And now, like, he's working these full field reads, these full consistent reads. He's going 1 through 4, and he's reading off of leverage and different coverages. And not only that, but he's consistently hitting these plays on third down, and he's working outside of structure, and he's elevating some of the different pieces of this offense. I think there is a pathway. I really think there is a pathway. And even if we haven't hit it so far, and that's, debatable, but I really think there is a pathway. What about you?
Yes. I'm just gonna say yes. I'll be completely honest with you guys. Sean Payton can draw up a top 10 offense, and Bo Nix can execute that offense. Is he gonna be a top 10 quarterback you wouldn't take 9 quarterbacks over? I don't know about that. But can Bo Nix execute the top 10 offense that Sean Payton can draw up every single season as they continue to to add weapons? Yes. We'll see, 4 years from now, we'll have the contract conversation. We'll see if he's worth a $70 million mega deal because that's what it'll cost at that point, whatever. But for right now, the next 4 years, can Sean Payton make Bo Nix a top 10 quarterback, or can Bo Nix execute a top 10 offense, or however you want to describe it? Yes, I completely believe he can at this point. And yeah, it's just because we're running out of things to be like, what's limiting him? What's holding him back? He seems to have a fantastic mentality. He seems to be just constantly getting better, really above the years too. Like we were talking about earlier in the year, like, man, it doesn't feel like he's necessarily consistently reading stuff out pre-snap leverage wise the way he should be to know which side of the field he should play the reads on. Now he's doing that time after time. His eyes are always in the right spot. We talk about this all the time. Like even the Browns game, which we'll get to, the 2 in see-through, they're not because his eyes are in the bad spot. The first one, his eyes are in the right spot. We'll get to it. Second one, his eyes are kind of in the right spot too. He's just throwing a fucking bomb. Like he limits sacks. He's generating big plays with both his arms and his legs. He's consistent enough on this quick game stuff to be able to keep you ahead of the sticks. Fuck, man. Yes.
Yeah, I really struggle to see, areas where, like you said, it's limiting his pathway. I really can't think of many.
Yeah. Next one here. This one I had to highlight just because we've got Little Jordan Humphrey executing the block on Max Crosby on split zone, which I just, we got to love it. We love Little Jordan Humphrey out here. He does all the dirty work for this team.
We love him a lot.
And yeah, here he is making a good play. Like he just gets enough of this crease to get Audric Estime through the. Why do you think Audric Estime is not getting carries yet? I'll ask you. Is it your fault, Robbie?
It might be my fault. But honestly, I don't know. I really don't know. I think a lot of it has to do with, he's not quite that much of a threat out of the backfield. But, I mean, relative to the other guys in the room, I mean, it's not like they have a true Kamara or McCaffrey there that's limiting him. Like, I don't know. Maybe it's, he's not quite as good in pass pro. He's not a liability, but he's not as much of a plus in pass pro as, Javonte is. But I really don't know. What do you think?
I have no idea. I've been trying to figure out, like, again, we saw a couple fumbles early in the year. I keep trying to tell myself, like, that part of it, like when they're late in games and it's like, oh, we need a closeout back, I still kind of understand if there's a voice in the back of Sean's head that's like, hey, maybe we don't go with the rookie that's fumbled a couple times already. I can understand that. And again, that sucks. I'm not saying that that's right, but maybe like that's the excuse I'm telling myself. But dude, it just feels like, again, like we see him consistently, like every time it feels like 3 times a game. It's like, and there's Audric Estime with an 8-yard carry and back to the bench for 20 snaps. And it's kind of like, all right, man, I get it. But like, we kind of need to start getting a little bit of pop. And like, I think the idea of an Estime Jaleel backfield, where as much as it sucks and this might become predictable, the crack tosses in wide zone for Jaleel, and then every gap run to Estime, and we'll figure it out. We'll mix in some Mike Burton, we'll make it happen. I really think that would be fine, but there's got to be, again, where I trust the coaching staff enough at this point, and I'm going to sound like the Twitter shill that's like, oh, well, they're in the league. They know more than you. Sean Payton's not really giving me much of a reason to doubt him at this point as far as like when, I don't know, he should trust players. But it does feel interesting that, like, again, every time we see Estime in the game, it feels like he does get a decent carry, but then he doesn't come back in the game. And he really hasn't had a fumble in what, like a month and a half now?
Yeah.
So, yeah, just kind of curious your opinion on it because, again, like we see him be useful. He seems to be very physical on these runs between the tackles and, like, yeah.
It is weird, and I think a lot of it has to do with, it seems like the past 3 games, the announcers have made it a point to highlight that this running back room really is whoever has the hot hand. Like, I think, Sean Payton is really leaning into that. I don't think there's a running back one for this offense right now. I really don't. It's just like whoever's running the best on the fly and whoever had the best game prior, whatever their game plan is going against the different fronts that they're going to see that week, that's who's going to get the bulk of the carries. Like, it really does seem like that.
Yeah. No, just weird. Very weird. Very odd. But I don't mind the hot hand approach, though. I have been kind of enjoying, and it worked really well this last week, where I do think, again, it just makes them even harder to prepare for. It's the classic jack of all trades, master of none backfield, where it's just kind of like, what are they going to lean into this week? Shit, we have no idea. Marvin Mims got 5 carries. No idea. It's an absolute mystery box. But next one we got here. This was Bo Nix has been, again, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but it feels like Bo Nix has been executing really well against cover 0, which I think a lot of that is because he's just getting really good at being like Cortland Sutton and, throwing it to him like he does right here. But really exciting stuff by him to, I think, just kind of show this growth and his ability to kind of like, again, see safeties rotating, know what he's getting, and just throw up the ball to his best receiver.
Yeah, I mean, it was a pretty good throw, too. Like, there's really not much to this play other than Sutton has been a freak lately, and they trust him to make these plays.
Man, it's so crazy watching Sutton at this point, because it really is one of those things where I don't know how you possibly consider letting this guy off the team and while Bo is on his rookie deal at this point. I think you really have to look to extend him for the next 3 years if you can. That the money will be, I have no idea how much they have left over after the Quinn contract, the PS2 contract. You kind of hope they're able to keep Bowles, I think. I would like them to keep DJ Jones. Going to be some interesting decisions to kind of make this offseason. But yeah, just a good throw here. This was on 2nd and 10. Not too much to say about that. But yeah, they're going to have some very interesting decisions to make once we get to the off season here, and it'll actually be fun for once because we get to not just be like, Jesus Christ, get this guy off the team.
Let me ask you a question. You think Sutton ends the season in, let's say, top 5 receiving yards?
Where is he right now?
8th, I want to say 7th, 8th.
I'm gonna say no, just because he's just now getting the bye week. But
True.
he could
True.
maybe the only thing that sucks is I feel like a lot of these matchups they're going to have, I don't know if they're going to be shootouts.
Right.
Like the Bengals game, yes. The Colts game, I think, will be interesting. I do think they'll be able to score a lot, but I think they also might just be able to run the ball a lot on that team. And then the Chargers and Chiefs, who they face, those are usually pretty good pass defenses. But I don't know. I mean, it's definitely possible. I mean, he's probably going to hit 1,000 yards for the first time in 7 years? That's so exciting for him.
It really is.
Here we just get a nice play. This is a 3rd and 1 crosser. They're just coming out in their heavy set. Did you switch it over? Oh, nice. You're on it. Oh my God. I looked up and I saw it happen. I was like, nice.
I got you.
Teamwork making the dream work. But yeah, they really come out in a very nice, Sutton is selling so hard that he's run blocking here, and it just ends up really working out well for the play.
They're hitting on so many of these different situational concepts that they just could not hit to save their lives to start the year. And it's so awesome to see. Yeah.
And I mean, this is another example where and we've seen this a lot on 3rd and 4th down, they're pushing the ball. They are not, if you're going to give them this opportunity on 3rd and 1 to say, hey, let's see if this opens up a little bit for us. They are not showing fear a lot. Sean Payton has complete trust in Bo Nix to hey, we need you to step back here and make a throw. Once again, we get a really good under center fake from Bo. Linebackers are just getting tortured as they have been all season by Sean Payton. And we get a really nice catch by Sutton.
And he just stands in there and throws the ball.
Yeah. No, and this is a nice one through. This one might be also another holds his eyes and then kind of almost like the Breeze throws where we see him make, where he holds the safety deep and then kind of throws it off to the side late.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice play. Oh, this might have also been, I don't know, there was another play later in the game where little Jordan Humphrey has kind of a nice rub route. But yeah, this Raiders game was again, just seemed like drive after drive. He was just continuing to make plays.
He really, we've talked about it, and you touched on it a little bit this season, or this episode, sorry, but Nick's really like he just has that mindset where he can throw a pick one play and it doesn't matter. Like there was a play against the Browns where it was that he threw kind of across his body on that deep shot to Sutton, and Sutton like wasn't expecting it, so he didn't work upfield. And the camera pans to both of them, and they're just sitting there laughing, like just straight laughing, because they know they're gonna get him right back on the next one. And like it's such like a cool mentality to watch play out in real time.
And it filters through the entire team, man. Like it starts with Bo, but like, dude, the defense. I mean, the swagger the defense plays with anytime they make a big play, anytime one of them makes like a almost a funky play too. Like how excited the defensive line makes anytime they make like a pass breakup at the line of scrimmage. How hyped up the corners get when they're able to run down a screen pass and beat up like the Jaquan McMillan 4th and 1. Like the interception by McMillan was incredible. Super cool play. The play where he ran down the screen, bounced off 2 blockers, and made the stop on a 4th and 1 felt like a define. And they ended, or it was a 3rd and 1. I think they got the 4th and 1 right after. But doesn't matter. It is purely just like the determination and grit from this team week after week that they're just like they are so hungry. You can feel that like some of the guys that have been here for a long time, some of the guys that haven't been here for a long time, and they're just like, nah, man, we're not the fucking bottom barrel of the league anymore. We are here to take wins from you. You are going to have to beat us and beat us multiple times. You're not going to just like, oh, we got to lead the game's over. No, man. You got to beat us in the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th quarter. And it's exciting.
We have not seen a Broncos team like this in a while.
No. Oh, this one. Let me see what you have to say about this one. Let me hear you break this one down.
I mean, this is a 3rd down, right?
Yep.
I mean, like the anticipation on this throw, it's like starts his drop back and Sutton isn't even at the top of his route, let alone to the break of it. Like, man.
This is one of those
not be
little
romantic
giants like
about
it would have
football.
stuck in his face mask.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Like he's had a couple of these where like again, the timing is just getting there.
Yeah. And not only that, but he's facing pressure on this play. He knows he's gonna get hit.
Some more Javonte Williams pass pro propaganda. Get ready, people. Oh, but yeah, no, this was one of those where like his anticipation on some of these throws is fucking crazy.
Man.
Sutton's got to be so excited to have a quarterback like this, dude. Because it's just, again, like, it's perfect for him because you get the opportunity to have the big play balls, you know, where he's going to put the ball up, give you the chance to kind of dunk on a guy. But, like, with Sutton's frame and his ability, like, we'll get to some of the plays where, like, his ability – I mean, this actually is a pretty good one. Hold on, let me go back to the sideline. His ability to – and this might sound weird – commit OPI without committing OPI, his ability to kind of use his frame, use his strength, use his size to kind of get the defender off of him, but not fully extend – not like completely body bag. Like that's a skill that truly takes like a lot of time and like effort to learn the right spot to like, you know, push defenders, put your hand on defenders to kind of get them off you without it being a shove to the defender. Like this is a great example. He's able to kind of build this separation, but that's not a push off. That's not OPI. He does that so consistently and it gives these split second multi-yards of separation windows and Bo Nix is hitting them every single time.
Like he's really transformed into a different type of receiver. Like you put out a really great tweet about it. Like he went from the contested ball winner who had, you know, plus yak ability. He has the big injury, comes back, doesn't have the yak ability anymore, but now he's just like so refined as a route runner and he's doing all these little subtle things in his route running to help him win these routes. Like he's a different archetype now. And it's crazy to see because he still has the contested catch ability. Like he didn't lose that.
I mean, here's another one. Like, look at this is what I'm talking about, guys. Look at how fast he gets upfield and gets this DB on his heels. I mean, bro, he's hauling ass.
Yeah, Sutton is not slow.
He is moving. Oh my God. Like, bro, this dude is shitting his pants. He's like, holy fuck. They're playing one high. I don't have help. This is going to be an absolute bomb. Oh, shit. Like, it's time after time. Is this another 3rd down? This is 3rd and 10. He's getting a lot of help from the run game here. We're throwing shots.
Oh man, I fucking love it.
But yeah, like we're executing just in structure. This is pure drop back game again. I mean, this is another dagger throw where we talked about earlier. Or wait, isn't it? Never mind. No, it's not. But still, being able to hit the backside dig here, just absolutely beautiful. And this is another one where like we're getting a half field read. We're making it a little bit simpler on our quarterback, but that's fine. Let me take a second because I want to go on a little.
Talk your
hate
shit.
the training wheels argument. Can I talk about this? I hate the training wheels argument. You've made a lot of great points on this, but here's my side of it. Why are we against training wheels now, guys? You motherfuckers ever ride a bike? What you did the first time you rode a bike? You used training wheels, probably. Maybe you were a badass and got on the bike right away. You were probably using training wheels, bro. Rookie quarterbacks are expected to get fucking training wheels. I don't understand this whole, like, we see quarterbacks in their first couple of years being given training wheels, and now we're bashing. Like, yeah, that's kind of the fucking point. If year 2, year 3, we're still seeing them given training wheels, like some quarterbacks we've seen, yeah, that's when you start being like, all right, we got to weigh this off. What the fuck? Now we're like, oh, man, this, like, imagine seeing a 5-year-old, a 6-year-old riding a bike with some training wheels, and you start, like, cooking his ass from across the street. That doesn't make any sense. He's supposed to have training wheels. Rookie quarterbacks are supposed to have training wheels. That's the end of my tangent. I think it's a very silly thing to be like, he's getting training wheels. No shit.
I mean, you're right. And we look at what a lot of these people call training wheels, and it's like ridiculous. Like RPOs, screens, play action, those being labeled as training wheels when they're the core of about 80% of NFL offenses. Like, it's so insane because Andy Reid, his entire offense, maybe not so much this year, but since Mahomes has been in the league, has been RPOs, perimeter screens, play action. They're not training wheels for him, obviously. Like, those things are not training wheels at all. Like, it's just...
Look at the Steichen Eagles that made the Super Bowl.
Thank you. It's literally just, let me use this to knock down a quarterback that I don't like while praising the coach and quarterback that I do like in the same area. Like, it's ridiculous. Quarterback discourse is at an all-time low.
Yeah, it's very hypocritical because, like you said, it'll be praised on one end for being this great design, great way to make it easy on your quarterback, get him in rhythm, whatever. But then for another guy, it's like, oh, wow, you're only having him do this? It's like, yeah, dude, why would you not give a guy a few layups before you have him take the 30-foot three? We got a good question here. How much of the Peyton offense is Bo working with at the moment, do you think?
Man, I want to say, like, all of it.
Yeah, like, it's a tough question because I think, like, again, like, we're seeing I think this truly is, and this is what we wanted. It's not so much about the Sean Payton offense. It's about the Sean Payton offense built for Bo Nix, and I think that's what we're seeing. But, yeah, I'm trying to think, like, I don't think there's too much like the stuff that I think is limited isn't limited because of Bo. I think it's more because they don't have the weapons that you'd want to be running some of the things they have. Like, again, some of their route trees at some of their position groups are just a little bit more limited than I think Sean Payton would like them to be. Right. So that's probably my answer. What do you think?
No, I mean, I agree. Like, I can't think of anything that, like, the early or even late Saints teams did offensively that this team hasn't. Like, they've done a lot of, similar things. Maybe they're missing, like, the true under center heavy personnel deep shots, but, like, who are you going to throw them to?
Right.
Like, yeah,
Court. Sometimes.
Yeah. Like, yeah, Court is, he's the contested ball winner, but they don't really have anyone else that they can throw those to.
Yeah. No, yeah. Good question, though. I mean, again, we talked about this last year where not trying to beat up on Russell Wilson. It's going to sound like I am, but the Russell Wilson offense usually becomes the Russell Wilson offense, no matter what team he has. It's the Russell Wilson offense right now in Pittsburgh, and it's just kind of like, if you have the stuff to be able to run that, it's going to work better. If you don't, it's not going to work. And this year, I think we're just getting to see that this is what Sean wanted. And that's not a bash on Russ. Russ is being able to find success in an offense that I think more kind of perfectly utilizes his skill set. But this is why Sean was like, I need to go get my guy, because you gave up a bunch of draft picks and paid Sean Payton to come here to run Sean Payton's offense, not to, whatever you're trying to say. You brought him in here to be an offensive mastermind, not be limited to, whatever he has in front of him.
Right.
So here we go. What's the next here? I think 534. We're still in the first game. We're about to get to the second game. And this, I think, is the last throw from this one. But this one you pointed out here. I'll let you break down this one because this is another example where Bo's arm, man.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's hit such a different level than what we saw coming out of college and the start of the year. Like, this is a throw. Like, it may not seem like it, just watching from the end or the wide angle, but this is a throw that needs some shit on that thing. Like, that needs some real zip on it.
Put some shit on that thing.
Like, it needs some zip, and it looks effortless from him. Well, maybe not effortless because this is the play that tweaked his back. But I mean, like, these are throws that we didn't think he would be hitting as consistently as he is this far into his rookie season. Like, these throws have so much zip on them. And there's a throw against the Browns. I'm sure it's in here. I think it was the throw to Adkins. Like, it was a fucking heater. Like, it was just a 5-yard stick route, but
the curl throw. Oh,
yeah, it was a
that throw. Like,
heater.
I watched that throw back. I was like, oh my god. I was like, and like that was one like he put his fucking he put some shit on that one. And he knew it from the pre-snap. He's like, I'm gonna fucking tear a fucking hole in the unit with this throw right here.
Like, it was wild. It was really wild. And it looks even more so from the end zone angle of this throw. Like, it was such a nice throw.
Other things I want to highlight on this one: motion from Mims, manipulating Spillane completely out of the play here. Again, Sean has been, I'll say it like 70 times, fucking up linebackers this season, man. It is so, like, because I don't know what you're supposed to do. There's just so much conflict created. You get an immediate rub created by this guy. Also watch the eyes here from Bo because he does such a good job holding the safety and then making just a snap decision to come back. Like, look at this. Hold. Look, already getting ball out. This guy can't make a play on it. And again, this is a perfect throw. You can't execute a throw better than this. This is late in the game. I think they already kind of had this one a little locked up. What is this? 25-16. Okay. So, I mean, this was still somewhat a game. I mean, it was a 2-score lead, but hey, man, this is the stuff that the Reds, I'm very interested, and I'm sure someone could find the stat. I'll probably ask Hammer to find this for me later. I wonder what their goal-to-go touchdown rate is right now, because I feel like it's gotten a lot better over the past.
I think it's pretty high.
It has to be.
They highlighted it against the Browns, I think, on the broadcast team. I'm pretty sure it's pretty high.
Because, like, it feels like they just have such a variety of things they're able to utilize when you talk about, I mean, we've talked about their run game is so diverse. You have a bunch of different backs that do a lot of different things. Mike Burton gets involved near the goal line. Bo Nix runs the QB sneaks and also has a full package of QB run game. You have an ample screen thing to be able to pull from, even though a lot of people don't like running screens on the goal line unless you're Sean Payton. This is kind of, again, when I was really thinking, like, man, like, I think this team could be really hard to guard down inside the 10 just because they have so much girth. Yep. This is kind of what I was expecting, where it's kind of like they can kind of hit you from every single angle. We got 400 people in here. Shout out to everybody joining in right now. This is absolutely incredible. I know everybody in here is probably equally as sad as we are that we don't get to have a game to watch this weekend, but thank you all for tuning in on a little Friday with us.
Man. This is like, it's so fucking fun to do when you have a rookie quarterback who is good.
And now we get to go to game 2.
Could you imagine if he was just terrible, how dreadful this would be every single fucking week?
Right. And not
or
even
if this was Stidham.
Oh, see, that's the thing, bro. Like, imagine, like, and again, Brock Bowers looks incredible. It'd probably be pretty fun. But, man, it would not be fun being like, all right, here's the 5-7 Broncos. Let's watch Brock Bowers have 90 yards of catches while Jarrett Stidham ends the day with 198 passing yards and 2 picks, and they lost. Because we're running uphill against a mudslide there. Like, nah, man, that just sounds like hell. We're just waiting for them to actually do something. They did something, and, like, fuck, is it fun. It's so enjoyable. And the worst case was that he just didn't work out, and then they just do it again. They just roll the dice again.
Right.
All right, we're getting into I don't even know if I picked the player, if I just went with the first play. Whoops. All right, let's get here. Oh, Robby.
They can't fucking hit it.
They can't hit it.
The stars are not aligning for him.
I really like how they got into this one though, because I think they ran this one. Yeah, here. I mean, I'll let it play out. So the concept here, got drift. Lions run this a ton. You've got some play action. You're running a big post. You're running a dig. The dig's gonna come wide open, and they do it out of this like again. I really like them kind of running this like motion to the interior. This looks, oh my God, I didn't even see that they end up pulling bulls. This is crispy. Like, bro, their pass protection setups have been, and this is like gives you a free chip onto, There's a lot of spice on this one, guys. But Cortland drops it. I think Cortland knew that this one was about to be a tutty because like it really might have been. And this is another one where we talk about, hey, I know Marvin Mims, even though this one he did get the receiving yards. Might not always get the yards, but he opens up so much stuff underneath. Look at this safety. Look at this safety. This would have all been Marvin Mims. Not all, but a lot of that would have been Marvin Mims. So just always got to highlight that one. But yeah, brutal drop. Happens. Feels like Cortland has like 3 of those a year where you're just like, how do you drop that? And then later in the game, he'll like catch it with his pinky. And you're just kind of like, dude, like it's the monkey's paw, like where it's just like he makes the most spectacular catch, and then he just drops like the fucking 1st and 10. Yeah, but look at this set. This is really nice pass protection. This is one of the areas they put on a clinic dealing with Myles Garrett in this one. I did see that he was having somewhat of a foot injury, and a lot of people were being like, "That's why Myles Garrett wasn't online." Sure, I'll give him a little bit for that. But I think a big reason was stuff like this. They gave so much attention to Myles Garrett, and their pass protection plan was on point. They were handling stunts like nobody's business.
Yeah. This is like, man, Sean Payton is such a good fucking offensive coach. Like, drift is a concept that every team in the NFL, it seems like, runs so far in 2024. Sean Payton implements it into his offense, but he does it in a way that it looks like what they've been running all year. They've been doing that gun toss to McLaughlin. They've been doing that pulling guard on some of those tosses. So what Payton does is he incorporates the passing concept with the play action concept that is a run that they've been using all year. Like, it doesn't get any better than that. And it worked. It should have worked.
And let's look at this footwork from Bo, guys. Like, early in the year, we talked about it. Like, Bo was not resetting in these clean pockets. He was making every throw as hard as it could be on himself. Look at how he takes his time here. Sets, resets, absolute dart.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, he didn't even line up his feet, but that, like, this is a fucking missile, and it is right in the hands of Sutton. Like, this is a painful drop just because, like, look where this ball is, man. This is another one that's just, it's sticking in the guy's face mask.
Yeah. And he knows.
Absolutely brutal. Sorry, were you about to say something?
No, I was going to say Sutton knew.
Oh, Sutton knew. But on the very next play, they do come right back to it. And this is something, again, I really like to see out of Bo and Sean Payton, where it feels like he heat checks guys, but he also kind of will give you a chance to redeem yourself if, like, you had a silly drop like that. And, man, Bo's been dealing with pressure these last 2 weeks very well. And this was another one of these examples where the offensive line dealt with this blitz and stun so well. So well. And this is some good Jaleel pass pro, too, which was kind of exciting.
Yeah. Like, this first drive, I remember I tweeted it after they, it happened live, where, like, Nix operated these pure dropbacks against pressure perfectly this first drive. Like, it was nuts. It really was. Like, this was, like, 10-year vet shit.
And again, I'll keep saying it. Jim Schwartz, good defensive coordinator, guys. Like, there was a reason that this game was not an easy, like, this was never going to be an easy walkout dub compared to the other, like, poor record teams they face, just because you're facing a well-coached ball club. Like, this is a team that is going to be well-organized more often than not, and they are going to have a good game plan coming in. And it was really, like, fun getting to see, like this was a true, like, this might sound crazy, but I really think this is a performance that the coaching staff can kind of hang their hat on, because they showed the ability to adjust. They showed the ability, I think, also, like, I know a lot of people were beating up on Vance Joseph for not playing man the entire time, even though obviously we were watching Levi Wallace not be able to play man-to-man coverage. And the one time they ran like a cover 0 man call, we have Jeudy getting like a 90-yard touchdown. I really like that we saw Vance stick to his guns in the second half and say, no, like Jameis is going to give us picks. I don't care. If Jameis can really drop back 60 times against drop 7, drop 8 coverage and not throw a pick, good for him, because it'll be the first time in his career he has shown the ability to do that. And he was rewarded 3 times in the span of it felt like 15 plays. So just had to make that comment that I love you, Vance.
And it's a really good point, man. And I want to like point out, like, I don't think yes, he should have benched Levi Wallace earlier, but I don't think all that much changes. Like, I really don't. Like, it's just what they have at that position without Riley Moss.
I can't wait for Riley Moss to come back. I think I'm getting a Riley Moss jersey for Christmas. Little trajectory, but I think so. I think that's going to be in the mail. I'm excited. I need to get like the custom one though, because he doesn't have jerseys in the shop yet. Denver Broncos.
Really?
What do we do? Yeah, you got to get a custom Moss jersey.
What?
I know. It's kind of crazy to think like how many players there are now that I like want a jersey of. It went from like I've always been very hesitant to buy Broncos jersey because it feels like they never keep their good players, and it also feels like they don't usually have very many like, oh, this guy's worth getting a jersey of. Like, feels like for the past 8 years, it's been like, all right, so who are we trading at the deadline? So wasn't any reason to get any of those guys' jerseys, but now like, shit, I want a Knicks. I want a Riley Moss. I want a McMillan. I want a little Jordan Humphrey. I want a Mike Burton. I want the whole squad. I want the Infinity Gauntlet of jerseys. Do you have any jerseys from this current team?
I do not. Actually, oh man, I don't even want to put this out live. There's way too many people in here. But the 2 jerseys that I have right now, actually, I have a color rush Chris Harris Jr.
Oh,
so don't do too much on me for this next comment. But the 2 other jerseys that I do have, let's just say they're both quarterbacks with the number 3.
Oh, you've got That's kind of juicy though. Which Russ one do you have?
Blue.
Okay.
Yeah.
Here's the thing.
The lock is just the orange.
My hot take. I'm pretty excited to be able to look back in like 10 years and be like, Russ played for the Broncos. Tastes like a little bit like sour milk right now. I still am the guy who gets to hear and be like, bro, Russ was like one of the best quarterbacks for my entire childhood. Like that motherfucker was a top 3 quarterback for me for like 9 years. Like,
yeah,
I will still be like, oh man, that was like, obviously didn't work out. Absolutely sucked. Team wasn't good for 2 years, but like, I'm one of those guys that like, I like being able to be like, oh man, I got to watch that guy play for my team. Little shit like that matters to me. So like,
yeah.
I'm still like, I think that's pretty cool to get to fucking have. Like, you'll be able to dust that baby off in 8 years and be like, let's ride, you know? And you'll be like, about it.
Listen, that's just going to be one of those obscure jerseys that you see, like, for every team. Like, a Bortles Rams jersey. Like, it's just one of those.
Blake fucking Bortles, man. Why did I forget that guy was in the league?
Oh, shit. He was a Bronco, too.
No, oh my God.
He was a Bronco.
He wasn't that only for like a week? Did he even make it onto a roster?
I think it was
practice squad.
The COVID year? I think it was the
what
COVID
a nightmare season. What a nightmare of a fucking season. Oh, what a fucking career we put Vic Fangio through. Like, Jesus, man. We were giving him just the absolute shit.
We didn't give him a choice in that year off. Yeah, we forced him out of football for a year.
Go relax, man. Hit the beach. Go watch some fun defensive film. We'll see you in 12 months. Like, we'll figure it out.
Oh, man.
All right. Is this the first or second play? This is the third play of the Browns game. What am I talking about? This was a really good feel by Valet to know where the soft spot in the zone was, and just like really good job to help your quarterback here when you see him in scramble mode. And again, this is a really nice throw from Nix on the move. Like,
yeah,
he's just getting so consistent with it at this point. This is like Valet's ability to make these catches like close to the ground, away from his body. Like, again, maybe this one is a little bit of an underthrow by Nix, but this feels like another one where, to me, it feels like one where he's just saying, let me put it in only a place where my receiver can get it and protect him from a possible hit. Maybe this one isn't the best example of that, but we see him do that a lot. And a big reason he's able to is because Valet is able to adjust and make catches like this constantly. This is another whip, dude. What is going on?
Yeah. I mean, look at his hand after he lets go of it. He knows too. Like he's got some fucking
Like Jesus Christ.
some recoil
Miles
on it.
Morales' his ass. That's fucking crazy, bro.
I won't lie. Live, I was a little bit salty this wasn't a touchdown. This was such a nice play. Too nice of a play to not be a touchdown.
Bro, and again, he's just he's dealing with wonky coverages. He's making aggressive throws downfield.
Like Jim Schwartz, just like he destroys rookie quarterbacks. Man.
I think they said
they're like against 10 and 30 or something.
Yeah,
he destroys them, and he had the 2 picks. One wasn't his fault, but like Nix was just like, yeah, okay, you're throwing it at me. I know where my answers are. I'm getting to them, and I'm gonna keep up with the points that your offense is putting on the board,
dude. And it really early in the year, there were some times where I was like, man, I wish there were a couple more answers on this play. I've really come around. Like, I have so few complaints about what the offense runs when I go back and watch. Like, this was another one where I think I said, like, oh, man, where's the QB run game? There's, like this is another rep. Like, I'm pretty sure this is read, but, like, they run it multiple times, dude. Like,
yeah,
I think this is the lead read, right? Like, but they just end up playing it perfect. Maybe it's not. But this is another one where I just wanted to highlight the threat of Nix. Actually, let me get it from the end zone angle. The threat of Nix in the run game is holding these defenders up so hard that like it's just creating wide open touchdowns.
Yeah.
This was also Adam Troutman. Take a bow. I apologize. We were calling you Jeff Wehrman. We were calling you all the no-name tight ends of the past decade. I like Adam Troutman. I apparently like Adam Troutman now. He does his job pretty well. He's become a kick-ass blocker, and, like, I mean, he can make a couple catches for you. Is he Gronk? No. Is he going to be, I'm not saying he's going to break receiving records, but, like, I've said this multiple times. I've made this feeling pretty clear. I think I said this a few weeks ago in the pod. There is a good chance I think he needs to be re-signed, but if he's on the team next year, he's probably going to be the week 1 starter. Yes, I know we all want them to draft a tight end very high. I also want that. I hope they do. But the reality is Sean Payton doesn't really give rookies snaps right away. Your tight end is going to be – you're going to have multiple of them. And as we see, they play multiple of them all the fucking time. And B, rookie tight ends usually come in and are not the best inline guys. So having a guy like Adam Troutman that I think gives you at least C to C plus level play as an inline tight end, that's pretty damn valuable. And on top of that, Adam Troutman's kind of like the little Jordan Humphrey of the tight end room. He's been in Sean Payton's offense for like 6-7 years. You want Tyler Warren, insert whatever other tight end you like in the draft to learn the Sean Payton offense probably twice as fast as he normally would. Keep Adam Troutman around.
Yeah, like Troutman is he's another one of those auxiliary players that really make the offense run. Like, he's not going to put up 100 a game. He's not going to do this. He's not going to do that. But he's one of those auxiliary players that really has a role in this offense and does it well enough to where it helps the offense, succeed. Like, you've got Troutman, you've got Lil Jordan Humphrey, you've got Adkins, you've got Burton. These guys aren't huge names. They're not stars. They're not really Pro Bowl level players, but they're tools of this offense.
Yeah. And I mean, again, this is just like we talk about. The red zone offense just throws so much at you. Safeties, edges, corners, they all have to respect the fact that Bo might scramble out. There might be a guy breaking off into flat right here because they've just run so many different things out of this look. And then you get Javonte Williams walking in right behind Adam Troutman.
Yeah.
Next one here. Oh, this is the pick. This one was, again, I wanted to put this one on here because I actually I like the decision Bo makes here. I actually like the throw too. Denzel Ward is just a damn good corner. I have a question. Do you remember it was either last season or 2 seasons ago when Russell Wilson threw the inverted cover 2 seam ball and it was picked?
Was that against Cleveland?
It might have been against Cleveland. That's why I was trying to wonder. Because I think it was Denzel Ward who made the pick. Or it might have been the Chiefs. That's why I can't remember. It might have been the Chiefs and McDuffie.
Did they play the Texans that year, or was that the first year? That was with.
You're right. I think you're right. I think it was
Stingley.
Stingley.
Yeah.
Because that was the one thing I kept thinking when I was watching this game. I'm like, bro, I feel like I've seen that throw before. Because I remember, I think we broke that game down.
Yeah.
I remember us being like, this throw isn't really Russ's fault. for it being picked. Like, this is just a fucking absurd pick by Derek Stingley.
Yeah.
Where this is one of those where, like, this is just an absurd play by Denzel Ward, so I'm not really too mad about it. Like, this is just really good, man. Like, bro, look at how Denzel Ward plays this fucking dig, bro. Relax.
And the Browns definitely had some devil magic on their side because there's no way a football is supposed to bounce like that off a deflection.
What did he hit it with? Like a fucking bat?
It was just a nice play. There's really nothing you can put on Bo here.
Bro. This fucking break on the ball is mean.
Yeah. Ward's a really good corner, man. He doesn't get talked about as much as he should be.
I've been thinking, man, I feel like there's been a resurgence in recent years of like the DB position. Like there's a lot of really fun corners to watch. Travis Hunter, obviously this year is going to be another guy. Will Johnson from Michigan. Like I've become a very like, and it seems like it depends upon the game, but sometimes the league will let corners play too. Like I think this game they were kind of letting the DBs play a lot more, and I like that. Yeah. I like that a little bit because it's too easy. Obviously, there's no position in the NFL that's hard. Sometimes the refs make it a little bit too easy on receivers, man. These guys can't. This is a fucking battlefield, bro. They can't just be thinking they're not going to get hit when they catch the ball. Let me see some fucking contested catches, and this is exactly what you want to see, man. Like that's so well timed. But yeah, this was just a good eyes by Nix, and also like I think he did a pretty nice job too of like, I don't know. It seems like he felt Miles here and kind of rushed this throw, but not in a bad way.
Right.
And this is look at this snap.
Oh man.
There are a few of those.
Oh
where, like,
man.
Like when we talk about, man, it's really impressive that he's being calm in these pockets. Yeah.
It's even more impressive. Wow. I didn't even notice that.
Yeah. No, there were a few of those in this game where like I don't even know. I don't know if he's smacking the ball against his own ass. This is such a crazy rep by This is one of those where Myles Garrett just moves different.
Yeah. Man, it's so crazy how much he was eliminated this game. And they do a lot. Like they chipped and they helped with backs quite a bit, but there were also a lot of plays where either McGlinchey or Bowles were on an island and it didn't matter. Like, yeah, this is probably one that, like, I mean, he had a couple of true wins, but like this is the one where I think you really say, like, okay, he got a pressure here. And he fucking gave the wall with Nix. He's taking some shots this year, dude. Yeah. I think this was his lowest amount of pressures in a game in the past 2 seasons. I think it was something like that.
I think he had one pressure, right?
Yeah.
Ridiculous. But yeah, that one ends up being the interception. Then we'll get to the next one here. Oh, Myles Garrett, I will say though, like I had this thought the other year, the other year. I think Myles Garrett, and I'd have to actually look back historically, might be like the best non-quarterback number 1 pick of like a long ass time. He's so fucking good and has been since he was a rookie and is just like year after year a defensive player of the year candidate. Like he was a can't miss prospect who truly was just like, I don't know if we've really seen many true like, yep, you're a number 1 pick and you've always looked like it from day 1 till days, whatever. Yeah. So fun little thought experiment I remember having where I was like, oh, that might be real.
I mean, he's like Clowney did Clowney go 1?
I have no idea. That's a good question. Here, hold on. I can look this up. What do you think Clowney? What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say Clowney or Garrett is what Clowney was supposed to be at that number 1 pick if he went number 1. And look, Clowney's still a very good player, but Garrett is just like Myles Garrett. I think Clowney went 1 or 2.
Yes, he went number 1 overall.
He went
but
1?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say, where it's like, I feel like so rarely do we see it's hard to be the number 1 pick for obvious reasons because you do not have a choice but to be like, Trevor Lawrence has been a pretty damn good quarterback in the league, I think. He's obviously had some struggles, but like, I think from day 1, we've all been like, oh, he's pretty good.
Yeah.
People will never be satisfied with Trevor Lawrence because he was labeled as a generational prospect who went number 1. So unless he looks like Peyton fucking Manning, it's chalked. He has to win multiple rings or people will consider him a bust, sadly. And that's kind of the way it goes for a lot of those guys. Here we get it. Oh, dude, the back. This was another one the motion from Sean to be able to get the one-on-one on the outside and then Bo recognizing and knowing he has the back shoulder throw.
Like, they're just in sync. They're so in sync.
This is like a quick recognition by him too. Like to know, does this guy look for the bump? No, he doesn't. That's actually pretty interesting. So like, it's very interesting to know if Bo kind of sees this, because I think usually if you see this guy bump over, you might kind of be like, oh shit, are they running man? You might kind of think they're still sitting in zone. So knowing you have this one-on-one, and again, seeing the leverage of this guy, knowing that you can put a ball in this spot because this guy is not going to be able to make a play on it, like this is high-level shit from Bo. This is this is again high-end quarterback play. When we talk about he wasn't necessarily reading leverage pre-snap, but also like right at the snap as well as he should. This is a peak example of like, damn, like you're getting it now.
He's come so far. I said it. Yeah, third down. I've said it the past 2 weeks, and I will say it again and again and again and again. Not that this is one of the best rookie seasons I've ever seen, because obviously, objectively, statistically, it's not. But this is one of the more interesting rookie seasons I've seen, because you are seeing improvement week to week, like tangibly. Like it is very clear. Like week 1 to week 2 to 3, 4, and so on. You can see these different areas of the game that are getting hit when they weren't early on in the season. Like it's like if you're looking at quarterback development, it looks like Bo Nix's rookie season is going to be the quintessential rookie season for a quarterback. Like this is what development should look like in the right structure, surrounded by the right pieces. Like it's so crazy and just fun to witness live every single week.
Another good rep from Bulls here too. Just going one-on-one with Garrett on the island, baiting the hand,
winning. Bulls is so fucking. I'm tired of the Bulls slander.
He's gonna need a bag. He's gonna get the break stretch backed up. It's gonna be tough because, like, I mean, dude, again, at this point, it's like we've seen what Bo Nix can operate from behind a clean offensive line, and I am sitting here watching what the Chargers are doing with Herbert. I have watched what the Chiefs did with Mahomes. And I would like to say, sign me up, please. Let's get a top 5 offensive line for Bo Nix for the next 10 years, please, and thank you. We'll figure the rest out because they have a coach that can fucking do that. So, man, back to pay him, maybe upgrade him, and let's get some guys developing behind some of these guys because it's not the youngest group. Like Miners is obviously still only probably 25, maybe 26. Yeah. I think Powers is getting close to 30. These guys are on the wrong end of 30, and then Wanberg you're probably going to want to look to upgrade off of. But still, not the youngest group, and I think it is an area where you build on a strength. Let's keep this thing going. Let's keep cycling younger guys in here. Let's chuck a top 100 pick at just a swing guy along wherever one of these spots, and in a year or two, we'll be grateful we did.
And look, they have the offensive line coach to be able to do that. Like if they draft, not that I necessarily want them to, but if they spend a 1 on like a tackle in the draft and they just want them to sit and be ready for when McGlinchey goes, I wouldn't be opposed to that because of Zach Strife.
Like that might be the dream. Like genuinely, like that might be for where they're sitting right now. Like again, we hope they can retain the 2 bookend guys, but like McGlinchey, I think next year might be the last year on the McGlinchey deal. Wasn't it only a 3-year deal they gave him, or was it?
Yeah.
Okay. McGlinchey should be coming up on they'll need to figure out how they're going to pay him. And Bowles has been a year-to-year guy every single year, so they're going to have to figure that out. And right now, they're a top 3 tackle duo in the league. Like that's not. And dude, again, when we talk about the comments that were made when Mike McGlinchey was given that contract about how and from me, I thought it was going to end up being an overpay. You have not heard a peep about it being an overpay because that is just what good tackle play costs, and he has given you more than good tackle play with how good he's been in the run game.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, just another great work throw to the sideline. We're so close, Robbie. We're literally so close to the greatest pass play that we've gotten to watch in such a long time. I'm so excited, but we get one for the fourth. This was an underrated one. I thought this was, again, when we talk about earlier in the season, we were talking about how it was a little bit worrisome. This isn't a great example, but sometimes Bo wasn't working the awkward arm angle throws, I think, as well as he could. He wasn't beating defenders with his arm. He obviously doesn't need to here. There's not a free runner right here. But he does do a really good job of working this pass in, like, around the blocker. Like, this is such a weird, like, slider of a fucking throw.
Yeah. I was watching this. I was like, man, this throw is about to hit Adkins in the back of the fucking head, isn't it?
I mean, dude, it's wonky as hell. Was this – let me make sure he threw it. Did he throw this forward? Yeah. I mean, yeah, this is just a great play. And this is another one where, again, when I talk about, like, I want them to upgrade the tight end room. But it's hard for me to look at plays like this from Nate Adkins and be like, this guy is definitely off the roster next year. Like,
yeah.
I don't know, man. This is like, he does this once a week where he runs the point in the bunch and he just beats the shit out of your nickel corner. This guy is going to fuck this guy up every single time.
Yeah.
And it is pretty goddamn awesome. Good job by Valet, too, kind of giving him that little bit of an extra nudge. But just, man, like, they are executing these screens at such a high level. I wanted this for Franklin, too, so bad.
So did I. He's got to get this in.
15 more pounds, baby. It's a hell of a tackle, honestly.
It really is.
But, yeah, man, just so exciting. I mean, again, just seeing the RPO game open up so much the way it has this season. This one might even be a triple option. It looks like he might have the opportunity to take this one, too. I don't know.
Yeah. Holy shit.
I don't know.
That's a nice-ass play.
Yeah, no, I mean, again, was this out of their pistol look, too? No. They're just doing so much fun stuff this season. It's got to be so hard for teams to prepare for. But, like, seeing all these guys – oh, and this is another thing I want to highlight, too. The mental – like, something to keep an eye on for guys they draft. The mental, like, what am I trying to say? Like, just ability of a lot of these guys. Like, Bo Nix seems like a heady guy. A lot of people, like, Devon Valet is getting a lot put on his plate. And I think it's because Devon Valet is probably a very smart player. And I think you can tell based on how he plays in the open field, his instincts. But, like, this is clearly a guy that is very detail-oriented. So it's one of those things to keep in mind when maybe some of these older guys get brought in to Sean Payton, when maybe some of these, like, under-the-radar guys get brought in. It really just might be because Sean is just like, this guy gets it. He does not – I don't need a guy that runs a 4.2 40 at every single position. I don't need the biggest freak athlete. If I can get a guy like Nate Adkins, who's a willing competitor and he's smart enough to know how to work out of – like, dude, Nate Adkins plays out of like 5 different positions on this team. Like, he lines up as a receiver. He lines up as a fullback. He lines up as an H-back. He's their move tight end, and he lines up inline. Holy shit. That's a lot of stuff for an undrafted player in his second year. Like,
yeah, like it's pretty wild.
It's pretty wild, and we kind of see the same thing with Valet, where it's like just kind of one of those things that like it's something to take note of. Where like, hey, you hear about some guys over the draft process where it's like teams are loving this guy, he's doing great on interviews. Like maybe slight bump up the board because Sean's gonna like those guys because he can trust them to learn his offense.
That's a really good point.
It's so like one thing I'm excited for. I mean, again, it was so fun. Like now when we get to actually like watch again, the idea of watching like a prospect or a free agent player and envisioning them in the specific formations that they've run this year. Like when we talk about their empty set and you're going to watch insert draft tight end, you're like, holy shit, this guy can go in all the spots where Adam Troutman, Lucas Kroll, whoever are going in. And you can just imagine like him doing the stuff they have these guys doing, but it just being so much more expansive.
Yeah. Like, the offense really raises the floor for so many of those like auxiliary type players. Like it's just everything. Okay, they may not be where they're supposed to be statistically, but the offense is finally at a point where things make sense. Like things are working with each other. And, you know, these different plays are working off of each other. We're seeing some of the constraint plays that they've been building on early in the season. Like, things are making sense. Like, it's cohesive.
Robbie, it's time for the best throw we've seen a Broncos quarterback make in quite some time.
It's time.
Take this one away. I want to hear you talk about this one.
Yeah, so, I mean, they're getting inverted cover 2 from Jim Schwartz, which is a coverage that, you know, he has just terrorized rookie quarterbacks with. Nix recognizes it. He sees that pipe player running with Mims. He's turning, he's hauling ass to keep up with Mims. And he also knows that since it's inverted, that Ward is going to have to come from across the formation to get over top of that throw. So it's 3rd and 11 from his own 7-yard line. He knows that the throw is going to be there, but there is a pretty small window for it because Ward is a fast and athletic ass football player. So he just lets the fucking thing rip, and it beats Ward to the ball. And it is one of the best throws that anybody has ever thrown in Mile High in like a long fucking time.
This shit's ridiculous. Like, every time I watch it, I'm like, man, there's so many different layers to it, guys. The biggest thing, man, is just the confidence from both Nix and Sean Payton in this moment. It is 3rd and 11. You're up 27-17. This is a big moment in the ballgame where, like, you're trying to kind of, like, put your foot on the throat here. Actually, no, I'm pretty sure this was when it was 21-17, and then this touchdown made it 27-17. So, like, you're hoping not to give them the ball back and give them the chance to take the lead. It's 3rd and 11. You've got a rookie quarterback. What are you going to do about it? And, oh, my God, I mean, you described it perfectly. This is a coverage that we see Jim Schwartz run a lot, so Bo Nix was obviously prepared for it. And when you have a quarter like Denzel Ward, who, oh my God, he is this fucking close to making, like, genuinely one of the plays of the season. Like, there is not enough. Like, again, he gets beaten, whatever. This is the perfect spot for this throw. You can't throw this ball any better than this. But, oh my God, Denzel Ward almost is like, again, you see how he clicks and closes on some of these passes. Look at how quickly, like, he's able to not only get deep, but close the gap between him and then the ability to just take off. Like, it literally looks like he's flying for like half a second here. Like, he's in the air. Like, oh my God.
He's such a freak athletically, man.
But then Marvin Mims is just also, like, very fast and just runs away with it on the punt return. And I mean, we'll get to the end zone angle. But yeah, man, the confidence to rip this ball on 3rd and 11. You could just throw this ball away, get to the next drive, whatever. No one will probably beat you up too bad for it. There's a window here, but are you really going to be able to hit this one? You'll probably get beat up by it on the draft nerds on Twitter like me, but who's really going to care? Nah, man, fuck it. I know what I'm getting here. I've been told all week how I'm going to beat this coverage, and I'm going to fucking do it. And oh my God, man.
Is that a fucking 7-step drop?
Five.
I was going to say, I mean, even still 5. Even still 5 from a 7-yard line on a 3rd and 11. Like,
another great stunt pickup by the line, too.
Peyton trusts this guy to run anything. Anything. This is proof of it. Like, on a play like this, I don't give a shit about sample size. This is solid proof that Sean Payton trusts Bo Nix to run any play in his playbook. Like, this is against Myles Garrett. He's taking a 5-step drop on his 7-yard line from the shotgun and just, like, throwing this.
Well, and it probably bears keeping in mind, we didn't look at the play. This is the one that came after, it was either the play or the play before that one where he avoided a sack that would have been a safety. Like, just barely narrowly avoided it and dirted the ball, which is, again, a very, like, veteran-esque play to know, like, just got to throw this at my receiver's feet. Don't want to risk a, compounding negative play, which he's been so good at. But the fact that now we're getting a guy who's limiting negative plays and he's being this aggressive down the field to give you the chunk plays, oh, we're cooking with gas. Oh.
We got our guy. We got our guy.
Mean throw. It's a fucking mean throw. So, yeah, incredible play, honestly, all around by everybody. And, again, like, we'll keep saying it. The fact that we're seeing Sean Payton go from last year where, it felt like the offense was kind of in a box. It was really restricted to what it was being able to do, to now we're seeing just like, it's like a coloring book, like there's just so much, there's so much vibrance to everything they're doing. It's like, it's genuine. Like it's eye opening, like it's like you said, I think you put out like a tweet about where it's like, it's truly like, it's making me like not find my love for the game again, because obviously that shit didn't go anywhere. Let's go. Multiple hours. But like, it's really making me like, just like, just get more into it. Like, it's making me think about this shit more. Every play I'm so like interested in, like, oh, why did they do that? Even the plays that don't work, I'm like, okay, what are they setting up off that? What was maybe the third read in that didn't get opened up? Like, because there's just like, it's like an onion, man, but it's like a good onion, huh? It's like I don't know. I don't have a metaphor for it. It's like one of those dolls that like you open it and the smaller dolls in there. I've got nothing. It's cool. The more layers you peel back, it gets cool. Let's move on to the next play. Because another play where he's working from his own fucking goal line.
Was this the yeah, I mean, like, what the fuck are we talking about, fellas?
Look at the crowd. One thing I wanted to highlight too, the crowd was fucking electric at this game, man. Like, the crowd was so excited every time there was a big play. I commented on it where when I went back and watched, and maybe this is something I just haven't noticed, but like truly it felt like I noticed it the first play. The end zone camera in loud stadiums when you're watching all 22 will shake, especially on third downs. And as you know, Broncos fans know, incomplete, yada, yada, yada. There's a lot of third down chance. For the first time in what feels like probably my entire film watching history, that'll happen in Kansas City, or is it Lumen Field anymore? Oh my God, I think I just dated the shit out of myself. The Seattle Field, CenturyLink, is that what it is?
Yeah,
the bigger stadiums, like they'll get rocking. I have not seen Mile High really ever consistently be shaking throughout a game. From the very first snap, every end zone view is just fucking rattling. And I mean, you could tell. I mean, again, Jameis had a very good game, but there are some third downs where you can tell, like, he's just got to throw the fucking ball out of bounds because they are not on the same page. He's not able to get timing down, all of it. And I mean, props to everyone who was at the game because it made it so fun to watch, both as a fan and as someone who went back and went through the tape, to be like, oh man, like, this was like a moment for the entire city, the entire fan base. This wasn't just like, oh, good game.
Yeah, and they had a weird attendance with that game too. I saw some tweets about it. Somehow they had almost like 10,000 no-shows, and it was still like that.
Get my ass in there.
Like, it's nuts.
One thing I thought was kind of cool about this one too, and it was kind of interesting because we saw him do it, and of course, as I say this, it's not shaking, but they're on offense here. It was a lot on defense. So, I mean, we've talked about all year how these high-low concepts that they run, especially play action out of, they're usually taught to read them low to high. I think it's really cool here that we see Bo. Like, he has the low option all day here. He could easily take it, but is this a third down as well? This is 2nd and 10. Seeing him know that, like, okay, but I can wait for Sutton to come open, and that will be the better play here. Huge, huge for his development. Like, that's such a big, like, all right, I can take my check. I have my check down here, and I probably should, but I know better is such a, like, that's the next step, Yeah. That's like okay, here's how the book's telling me I should do it, but here's how I know I should. It's like when you're working a job and your manager teaches you how to do something, but you kind of learn, like, okay, but here's how, like, you're like how the people that work the job actually do it, not like the instruction manual way to do it. That's what Bo Nix is seemingly learning, and it's so fucking cool to watch.
Yeah, and I mean, it's a good point because on some of those types of concepts, like, you'll have the lower option, but because of the defensive coverage, he'll be open for so long that you have the option to work back to him if you needed to. Like, if Sutton didn't come open here, he still has the option to hit Estime outside like that. Like, it doesn't go away. Like, he can still work. That's a fantastic
point. Because you even see Greg Newsom bailing upfield to get back on Sutton. So, like, you're completely right that if this linebacker was able to squeeze this off enough, you just dump it down to Estime and you still get the 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, fantastic. And I mean, again, this is just another dime of a throw on the run right over the linebacker's hands.
Like, I mean, what are we doing?
Really exciting stuff, man. And again, like, just seeing the aggressiveness. What was the score on this point? Because as we said, like, this was a game where they had to battle back multiple times. This was one where, again, the defense was not having a great day. Jerry Jeudy came back. Let's take a second to talk about Jerry Jeudy.
What a fucking game. What a fucking game.
I can't hate Jerry Jeudy. I can't do it. I've always been a Jerry Jeudy. Like, I like that dude. I've always liked the competitive fire for that dude. I think I also just really hate people that seemingly paint that guy as, like, this thug of a player when, like, based on all the things I've ever seen Jerry Jeudy do, it's like that dude's, like, seems like he just kind of, like, takes care of his daughter and runs routes in South Florida. Like, I don't see that guy do a lot of like bad shit. Like, I don't know, but that guy gets painted absolutely horribly. So I was really excited because, again, Jeudy has fucking talent, man. Like, anyone say whatever you want. The guy can fucking hoop. The guy truly is a basketball player on grass. And I mean, we saw him bust Pat. Like, I love PS2, and PS2 had some really good reps of coverage, but there were a couple where Jeudy got his ass, and PS2 doesn't get got like that, especially on routes like comeback routes. Like, it was I had fun watching. I'm very glad he lost, but I had some fun getting to watch Jerry Jeudy. Like, bro, like, how can you not, bro? Like, dude's taunting the crowd and shit. Like, I don't know. The Broncos fan base kind of deserves it a little bit sometimes. 100%. Are you fucking kidding me? So I thought that. What did you think? Were you happy to see Jeudy kind of have a little bit of a reunion, or were you pissed?
No, fuck yeah, I was happy to see him, finally look like the guy that, a lot of us knew he was. Like, he finally has a quarterback that will get the ball out on time. Like, he has an offensive structure that'll put him in place to get these plays, and we're seeing it pay dividends. Like, he went from like 30th in receiving yards to 5th in one fucking night. Like, he's really good. He's really good. And listen, it was the right move to move on from him, and it was the right move from Jerry to want out. Like, it was good for both sides. It's just what it is. It happens. It's football. That doesn't mean we need to have a vendetta on the guy. Like, things just didn't work out in Denver, and that's fine. It's awesome to see them work out somewhere else. It really is.
Because, dude, what always upset me was anytime, like, Jerry's stuff, to me at least, anytime he'd make like a tweet, which people would always turn into like, he just like, I don't know, said something awful in a post-game interview, and he would just be like, got my conditioning or some silly shit like that. Like, I always saw that as like, and again, this is going to be complete conjecture by me. People can take it however they want. I always took it as that, like, that's just Jeudy being competitive, bro. Jeudy wants the fucking ball because he thinks he can make this team win games, and he's tired of fucking losing. Like, that's how I always took Judy's, like, any of the gaff he gave. It never came across as his being the diva receiver that I think it does for a lot of other players. Like, bro, Jeudy wanted to fucking win games. Jeudy would be pissed when he dropped passes. And, like, I don't know, anytime people would make comments on, like, his effort and stuff, that was always the stuff that I'd be like, what? Like, I don't see that at all. Like, I don't know. But so I was pretty excited to see that. And I just wanted to kind of touch on that with you for a second because, I don't know, I think, again, the guy gets kind of wrongly painted as, like, this villainous character when in reality, like, again, guys, every person on this team that's been on this team for the past like 7 years was kind of, they dealt with a shitty situation.
Yeah.
How many coaches, quarterbacks, offensive coordinators, whatever, every person suffered as a result of that. There's no reason to hold really, I think, any one player accountable over that entire era. So, like, I don't know, give the guy some fucking, whatever. He seems like a good dude who's like had a pretty good story, is a good talent, and like continues to seemingly improve on his game. And he's fun as hell and exciting to watch. So, like, just wanted to say that. Props to Jeudy.
I mean, I 100% agree. Like, Jeudy seems like me and you were always on the fucking front lines whenever he would put out a tweet like that, or he'd have a game or he had a drop or something. Like, it was really fun to watch him. And I wish it worked out here because, he was a really fun player, one of my favorite players of those Broncos teams. And it sucks, but it's also pretty fucking cool to see him ball out like this on another team.
Yeah. One thing I want to say too, and this is such a hot take I've had for a couple of years, and I've thought this for a while. I think Jerry Jeudy, and like, again, I think some of Jerry Judy's route running rubbed off on Cortland Sutton. Like, I think those two getting to work together for a couple of years because, like, again, Sutton has changed as a route runner these last couple of years. His ability to kind of break in and out of routes is different. This is a great example right here on the blaze out against Denzel Ward. Like, he's just different. Like, he's truly been moving different these last couple of years. And again, I'm not trying to say that that's all Jerry Jeudy, but I think playing with a receiver like Jeudy, who, like, that's his game. Knowing how to kind of, like, work leverage against corners, kind of get you set up differently so he can beat you in a different direction. That's how he plays, and it's kind of something that Cortland's really added to his game these last couple of years. And earlier in the season, we were talking about how Bo wasn't as consistent at reading the outside corner leverage. He's getting so much better at it now.
Yeah. I mean, this is such a good example to lead that into that. Like, did we ever see Sutton run a blaze out before? I don't think I've ever seen him run a blaze out.
No.
Man,
And it's
That's
fun too because this is a
silly.
look off of the I don't know what concept it would be, but like the big deep over in the back dig that they ran earlier in the game that we saw Sutton get the conversion on. Like they run that a lot. This is usually that half field read. This is literally we saw this half field read. This might have been against the Raiders, but we saw this I think earlier this game where they literally run this and then you get the dig on the underneath, and it looks like Ward is trying to hawk it out.
Yeah,
Literally, like you see him being like, "Oh shit," and then you get just a really good break outside where again. This is good offensive coordinating. You run stuff off of other stuff, so the defense is just there's no way to prepare for all this.
right. I mean, I agree.
Really good play by Sutton due to get a couple of yards of yak. I'll never know. I think this was the one too. Like this is on the game-winning drive from Bo. Well, game-winning, I guess, kind of because the Browns still had a chance. I'm calling it a game-winning drive.
Yeah, we're calling it a game.
Oh, Quinn eats this guy. Quinn eats this guy for lunch. Another really good. I mean, again, we've got an eligible tackle and a tight end just fucking fighting Myles Garrett. They did such a good job keeping Bo clean in this game, though. Like it's again, all the props in the world to what Zach Strief and this offensive line are doing because their pass protection plans have been immaculate.
This really might be like a top 3 offensive line. I think easily it is, to be honest.
I mean, again, like they have some gaffes in the run game, but like it's so weird because I'm going to bring up the Nate Tice tweets. Nate Tice is getting beaten a lot for saying that the Broncos run game was good. And I know the Broncos run game isn't good, but we go through it every week. They're not, I think, as bad as they get painted out to be. Like they still do. Javonte has been very bad. Yes. But they will still, I think, churn out like a beautifully blocked, like 20-yard run a couple times a game. Like they do that pretty consistently. And again, that's not me trying to say they have a good run game and that's carrying the offense. It's not what I'm saying at all. But it is one of those things that like I did think it was kind of funny when people like their run game is horrendous because like we watch it, like especially in this Browns game, like bro, Jaleel I think had like 6 or 7 carries that went for 10 plus yards, and they were all like really well blocked zone runs by the offensive line. That like I don't know. Just wanted to highlight that where it's like the offensive line has been run blocking really well. Not really well, but pretty well too, I think. And I think it's been getting better throughout the season.
Yeah. I mean, they're just – the biggest issue here is just that they're pretty spotty. That's it. Like they'll have spurts like that. But it isn't just – it sucks because Javonte is bad. Nobody is saying that he hasn't been bad. But you look at some of these Javonte runs and it's like, what the fuck do you expect him to do,
it's so
man?
unlucky, dude. I mean, yeah, it really does feel like the 3 times a game where there's a blown block are always the ones where Javonte is getting the carry, and it's always hard to put those on him. Like it was the game, I think it was 2 weeks ago where he ended with like negative yards, and his first run went for like 9 yards. And I was like, how did he end with negative yards? Sure enough, the other 3 carries he get are just like Troutman missed a block, Adkins missed a block, Humphrey missed a block. All those went for -3, and he ended up at -1. It was like, that'll do it. And then this was another one I just wanted to highlight because this was one we kind of – so earlier in the season, we saw him miss the 4 double outs, and I thought that this was a good kind of progression on this to see the pre-snap early on. I think you can pretty easily see – well, this corner at least definitely is playing with pretty inside leverage, but – it looks like they're not going to be playing the flats too heavily here. Bo kind of recognizing he's going to have so much off coverage to Sutton here that he's able to kind of anticipate and put this ball in here. And this is another 3rd down. So just wanted to highlight that again. Bo is learning how to make it super easy on himself.
Yeah. I mean, he's taking these steps, and it's so awesome to see in real time.
Beautiful. And yeah, that's going to be the last one. So there we go. 2 Bo Nix games. So I think a good question. Going into the Colts game, what are some remaining things you want to see from Bo Nix after the bye week before the end of the season? Is there any like one thing or a couple things you want him to kind of improve on or show you before the year ends?
I mean, the only thing that we really haven't seen him do much and do well is just like, I guess you could say changing protections. But I mean, who really knows how much liberty he's given doing so? Like, I mean, you got a center who, isn't the best. You've got a coach who is pretty, he's very meticulous with the details. So who even knows if Nix has the liberties to really change protections all that much so far? But, I mean, that's really the only area where we haven't seen a lot from him. And you can see, we can see a little bit more. So that's really the only area. Like, that's it. And that's just like nitpicking, I guess.
Yeah, like, man, I'm trying to think of stuff. I'd love to see the connection with Troy Franklin get a little bit better, but that's obviously like who even knows if that will ever be able to work out at this point. I'd maybe like to see. There was one example from the game, and this is such like a weird little thing that they highlighted on the broadcast too. But it was late in the game, and he had that one scramble where he slid instead of trying to fight for the first down. It was on like a third down. Maybe like I do kind of like. Why do you think that it's like a intentional shift by the offense to kind of take away his running in the offense? Like it seems like they really don't want to lean on that as much as they were early in the year. Do you think that's intentional?
I don't know. It's really weird. Like, it's weird because it really was like a true weapon for him to lean on to start the year. But as he started to improve, like, he doesn't need that much to like lean on. Like, he can contribute in all these different areas of offense. He can, execute these different concepts, but it shouldn't just be something for him to lean on. It should be a real part of the offense because it was so efficient and he's like so good at it out of nowhere. Nobody was expecting that. I think it has to be intentional at this point. I really do. Part of me thinks like hopefully they're just saving it and they don't want them to, they're coming down to the stretch in the playoffs. They don't want them to take those hits. So hopefully it's just that, but I hope we see a little bit more of it.
One more rant. I completely agree. I would like to see more of it. One more rant, and this is again a complete guess by you, but I'd be interested to hear your opinion. If you had to guess, like, do you think it's more of a Sean thing that we're seeing less running, or a Bo thing?
I think it's a Sean thing.
It's a Sean thing.
I think it's a Sean thing.
No, I think I agree because I mean we talked about earlier in the year where it was very interesting seeing the type of offense he threw Bo into, and I remember even saying like, man, I hope Sean kind of knows the quarterback he picked because it seemed like again like. He straight up thought this guy was like Drew Brees. Like he was just like, excuse me, I'm going to have this guy work out of a ton of pure drop back game. We're going to run a lot of day one staple concepts. We're not going to incorporate much QB run game. And then we kind of saw him lean back into that stuff and seemed to find more success. But now Bo is kind of like doing a lot of the shit he wanted him to do early in the year. So maybe he was right all along and we were kind of the foolish ones. But it's kind of an interesting thing to kind of keep note of where I don't know. I really don't know. Like, because on one hand, I thought once you took away that rushing element from him, like, I think probably one of the best offensive outputs we saw in the year was that Saints game where his running the ball was huge. Yeah. So seeing them kind of take that away, but the offense seems to have not lost a step is kind of incredible, to be completely honest. But it is something that, again, maybe after the bye week, we see them kind of lean back into it. Now that teams are kind of, oh, shit, maybe they're not doing that anymore,
Yeah. That's a really good point.
Yeah. But all right. I think that's pretty much all I got. You got any more thoughts on those two games before we, get into we leave for the bye week?
No, I mean, just other than I really think we found our guy. It might be early to say it, but I think we did.
The rookie window is open. Like, it's fun to think that now. Like, it's really like, again, I've said it multiple times this episode, the fact that now we get to just play this chess game of like, well, who do we swap out for our rook? Who are we putting in these different, I don't know what that hand motion was. Who are we putting in these different positions to kind of even raise the ceiling of the offense more? Because again, I really think we can really hope every week I see what the Lions do. And I'm like, this is the way, this is what we need. Let's find our Sam Laportas. Let's find our Jahmyr Gibbs. We'll find our Amon-Ra St. Browns, and we are going to be absolutely rolling. Because I watched Jahmyr Gibbs run an angle route or that little Texas route against that linebacker. And, guys, when me and Robbie talk about, like, they need that underneath mismatch weapon, in my opinion, more than they need an outside threat. And I think that underneath mismatch weapon will help the passing game more than that outside threat. That is why. Because linebackers are going to have to respect that shit so hard. Well, now you can't cover our running back with a linebacker. Okay, let's bring an extra safety in the box. Well, now you're playing a lighter box. Let's hit you in the fucking face with our running game. It's over. It's over for the league, guys. I'm so excited to get to watch football again in the Denver Broncos world. Yeah,
we're
Robbie,
back.
where can they find your stuff?
You can find my stuff over on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, Robbie_NFL. Obviously, you can find Full Field Read every Friday on the Let's Talk Broncos YouTube channel, which I hope all of you like and subscribe to. And yeah.
500 viewers tonight, guys. You guys really showed up. Thank you, guys. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Absolutely beautiful that all of you guys were in here tonight. Again, I know we're all disappointed we don't get to watch Broncos football this weekend. I know I'm very sad. This week went by way faster than I thought, and now the weekend's here, and I'm like, and now I'm kind of like, oh. But that's okay, because in a couple weeks, they could clinch fucking playoffs, dude. Like, that is, I think, such a, like, I don't think it's really hit me yet that, like, dude, like, there's a world where week 18 they play, like, backups because, like, they've secured their playoff spot by, like, a game or two, and there's no reason to risk a Bo Nix injury before a wild card game. Like, what the fuck is going on out here, Robbie? And they might, like, it's so crazy. Sorry, last little thing before we get out of here. They could sweep the fucking awards, man. Coach of the year probably should have an assistant coach of the year in either Vance Joseph or, goddamn it, I'm throwing Zach Strief out there. You've got the defensive player of the year in either Patrick Surtain or Nick Benito. He seems to be kind of making a sneaky claim. Offensive rookie of the year probably will end up being Bo Nix if he continues this trajectory and Jaden Daniels continues to slip a little bit. Damn. Damn. Remember like a year ago when this team didn't have a Pro Bowler? Like, holy shit.
It's wild.
The Sean Payton effect, baby.
The Sean Payton effect.
Well, yeah. Well, that's pretty much all I've got for tonight. I'm Frankie, Frankie's Film on the Twitter. Like Robbie said, make sure you're following the Let's Talk Broncos full field read, all that. We're always doing fun stuff over here and bringing you all the Broncos talk you guys need. But, yeah, until next time, next Friday, guys, this has been me and Robbie. You guys have a great weekend. Hit the end stream button. Boom.